Welcome to Agronomy Moment. I'm your host, Wendell Cohen. We bring in people who agree with me, disagree with me, and above all, are not afraid to say it like it is. Welcome back, everybody, to Agronomy Moment. I have the privilege of Scott Dickey coming back in. Well, I don't get happy.
Selena here.
Yeah, but Selena had a baby.
Selena had a baby.
And so she's on maternity leave, and Scott's filling in, and so...
B team,
I don't know what...
B team.
I have no comment on that, but what I am going to say is that I get to pester Scott again.
There you go.
And so today I want to talk about something that Beck has been doing. Some of you have probably been to field shows and are becoming exposed to some of this. What we're doing is PCR. What is PCR, and why do I want to talk about it?
It's one of our many acronyms, but it's Product Characterization Research.
Okay. And Product Characterization Research goes into what avenues as it relates to, because we're talking about products, so we're talking about corn hybrids, soybeans too.
PCR work in soybeans as well. Okay. You know, I think probably the best way to look at that is for 70 years, however long we've been looking at hybrid seed, or hybrid seed soybeans, obviously. We look at yield. Yep. Yield is a determining factor almost all the time in everything we do. And what we're trying to do with product characterization research is look at the characteristics related to our products and how we can apply those characteristics to management. You know, get away from always just selecting products based on yield. You know, most of the time a guy runs a plot, there's a winner and a loser. But does that mean that the loser in the plot is not a good variety or a good hybrid for his area?
Sometimes we look at it.
It's just a matter of how we're managing it. And so we're trying to look at those characteristics of hybrids and varieties that allow us to make our management decisions, or make the management on our farm apply the hybrids to those management practices to get the most out of the products.
Now, I might be throwing this as kind of off the top of my head, and I don't know if those numbers are surfacing here for you, but there was they did some interesting studies around just what you're talking about, where they took a whole suite of products, planted side by side. Mm-hmm. One was managed just control, basically.
Every hybrid treated the same.
And then you went over there and you cherry picked each hybrid and said, what do you need? And I'm going to give you what you need for that.
Based off our PCR work, we applied the best management practices to each one of the products in that plot.
So can you help me understand, even if you don't know the exact numbers, what was the result of that?
So a little further detail on the plot. It was one block. We split the block in half. Okay. One half was treated, every hybrid the same. The other half was treated with what we consider to be the more ideal management for those products. So just across the little alleyway from each other. Yep. I don't remember the numbers. They could spin them out to you, but somewhere in the vicinity of, typically from top to bottom, we're near 32 bushel difference in yield from the lowest performing to the highest performing product. Okay. And our goal was to try to determine if we could tighten that up. Yep. And we did tighten it up. I don't remember the number specifically. It was still a significant number, but I believe it was like 10 bushels under that 30 average. It was in a 15. I don't remember the numbers, but we saw significant improvement in the overall performance of the average yield of the products.
The narrowing of that spread is because we managed each one by what it needed.
Exactly. Yeah. And the average yield was higher.
The average yield
was higher, and the spread from bottom to top was much smaller.
So that's interesting, because the things that didn't change are it was in the same similar soil type. Mm-hmm. There's and things like that. Everything like that. But now if we take this hybrid that handles tough soils, we move it here, and we take this one that does better, and then we manage each one according to what it needs in nitrogen, all this.
So some of the things we did was change the nitrogen rate. Okay. I don't know if we changed nitrogen rate, but we changed placement for sure, and the timing a little bit. Yep. We changed, some of them got fungicide, some of them didn't. Yep. Because we found that some hybrids don't respond to the fungicide treatment as effectively as others do. We looked at population, different populations in those blocks as well, and it tightened that.
So I'm assuming then like a flex here, flex length type product had a lower possibly.
That goes into some of that, but it is still based on comparing a hybrid to itself in a PCR trial. So instead of a normal strip trial where you're comparing hybrid A to hybrid B to C, in PCR studies we're comparing hybrid A to itself, and I believe it's 21 different comparisons based on nitrogen replacement, timing, population, fungicide versus non, to try to determine what management practices allow that product to perform at its best.
And what is all going into how that's, like, how much of that information can I get?
All of it. We have a document for each hybrid now. that has been run through PCR that talks about what we consider to be the best management practices for that product.
Got it.
So then that allows us to, when we're looking at an order for a customer, is we can ask questions about management and then determine what would be the best mix for those management practices. Or maybe if the guy is hard set to plant a particular product, well, here's maybe some management practices you should consider to be able to get the most out of that hybrid on your farm.
Got it. So what happens then is, like, how are things moving along in this PCR, this research that's being done? Have we arrived at this destination? We're there?
No, it's going to be, we're going to be changing, not necessarily changing, but updating how we do it, how in depth we're going. We're rapidly increasing the number of locations we have where we're going to be conducting PCR work. We'll even have some choice locations now scattered throughout our entire footprint where we look at these types of studies locally.
Okay.
Not just on research farms now. So it's expanding rapidly. We're including soybean PCR work much more aggressively now.
And what can we learn from the soybean?
When we learn the population, underside response, those are a couple of the ones off the top of my head. I can't remember every one of them.
So there's population, you said?
Yep.
So population would relate to how its architecture is and which one is
yes. And I can't remember if we're doing row spacing. I don't remember if that's one of the studies, but that obviously plays a big role in that population discussion as well as plant architecture.
Okay.
Yeah. So you think of if you have a variety that's a very big, bushy, high grow-off plant that gets after it, that one's one. You're probably not going to stack a lot of plants out there. You're going into some lodging issues, things like that. Lots of management we can get into related to this PCR work. And as we develop more of that data, we'll have summaries at the end for soybeans as well.
So, I'm going to want you guys to reach out to me, of course, if you have questions on this. But where can anyone find this stuff that you're talking about? I know you said it's all there, but is it in the product guide?
It is not in the product guide yet. I think it's in our printouts. I think you can go to our website.
Okay, and PDFs that you can download the fact sheet.
I've seen the sheets, but I've never went in and looked them up yet. But I believe they are going to be associated with product sheets.
Absolutely.
That are online in the PDF format.
Yeah. And of course, I have the access to these product manuals. I think is what
I believe they will be in your dealer books.
Yeah, that's right. So we have access to that. If you ever had questions on something as it relates to management, definitely reach out to myself or some Beck's representatives, your local dealer, or Scott.
Yep.
And so,
I think one way to look at it is we've talked a lot about root reveal and silk reveal. These are the next steps coming.
Oh, okay.
We dipped our toe in the water. We've got silk reveal and root reveal, and now we're moving deeper into the product characters.
Yes.
Characteristics.
And just as a quick run over, though, what does root reveal do for us? I understand it's balanced, vertical, horizontal, but how does that even help me?
To me, there are a couple of key factors related to root architecture that a person can use the information we have related to those scores for product management decisions. Okay. One is population management.
Okay.
Verticals are better for higher populations. Horizontals are better at lower pops. Balance can handle both.
Yeah.
I like to think of it as like two kids in the backseat fighting. You can push them together so far, but once they interact, it's on.
Yes.
It's the same with a corn plant. So what is the max population we can run a product out on a given acre before we start having detrimental impact? The other thing is stress mitigation. Stress handling is the way to think about the roots. Yep. More verticals tend to be better in stressier environments. Horizontals tend to be better in less stressful environments. Again, this isn't a clear cut. If it's horizontal, it's always going to work in the high yield environment. And you know what I'm saying? But in general, these are generalities. And in general, these are how those orientations would perform. And then the third one has a lot to do with nitrogen placement. I don't think we need to try to get too cute with like nitrogen rate and type, but placement.
And maybe how many trips you're making over in a year?
Possibly. So you think of maybe if a guy's in fertigation with irrigator, you might be able to look at horizontals, get spoon-fed better through fertigation. Whereas if you have a guy that's going to put on anhydrous in the fall and not come back and touch it, a vertical may fit better in that type of management because he's going to get a more rapid conversion to nitrate, which is going to leach the nitrogen deeper into the profile. Those verticals can go after it.
So then, let's talk about silk reveal. What's that telling us?
So silk reveal is looking at, you have hybrids that if they're silk first, that means silk's emerging before the tassel. They're neutral, they come together. If you have tassel first, they're going to tassel first, and then the silks will emerge. So if you think about what happens in a stress environment like we have around here, dry weather, hot weather is going to tend to slow silk development.
Correct.
And accelerate tassel development. So if we're running with a hybrid that's a neutral or a tassel first, we may get to an environment where we drive tassel growth so rapidly, they're out, dropping that pollen before the silks have even made it out of the ear.
In the past, it was called an antithesis. Did I say that right? No.
ASI, antithesis, interval.
Okay. And it was so it was a negative ASI.
Negative ASI,
but that was
silk first.
I know, but it was confusing to me.
Exactly.
Because,
and that's why I changed that nomenclature to silk first or tassel first. Because it's easier. Every year I had to think about it, saying, what does that negative ASI mean?
That's right.
Oh, yeah, that's silk first.
Yeah. All right.
But if I just say silk first, it's a whole lot simpler.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, because it seemed like we've talked about this in the past, but it's a little confusing if we refer to it by those terms.
It's interesting, in our environment where we've historically been in Southeast Kansas, Southwest Missouri, you and I, it's always been kind of part of our discussion as far as tougher hybrids.
Exactly.
But I think in general, there's more applicability of that discussion outside of our stress environments. And I think this makes that a simpler conversation for folks that aren't typically dealing with stress takers.
And what other decisions management-wise can we not make based on that knowledge?
To me, when I think of the silking, you're primarily focused on stress handling and building of a product. And the other thing to think about, we talked about roots, especially verticals being better for stress takers. I think silk timing trumps root angle. Because you can take a product that's a neutral, or a balanced, or a horizontal, and if they are silk first, they handle stress better.
Pretty well.
But if you took a hybrid that's horizontal and tassel first, that's going to be a rough one to make in our area.
So the silks, though, that has nothing to do with how much silk is being pushed out, or how volume, or how fast, or
we're not looking at that. We're looking at the timing of its emergence.
Got it.
When you get into dry, you think of silking. Silks are 90+% water. Yeah. So when we're water limited, you significantly slow the growth of silks.
Yeah. Got it. Anything else to throw into there? Do I dare tease us with the seed IQ thing yet, or should we wait?
We can tease on it. It's public now. Yeah. It's a tool we have, AI driven. So our agronomists and product specialists sat down and had discussions that were recorded. And then those recordings were converted to a written document and fed to AI. Okay. And then AI took that information from all of our agronomists based on geography. And we have a website now where you can go in and answer a few questions, and it'll give suggested products. Yep. Now, I think I would want people to use that information as a conversation driver.
Yes.
They go in and put in their management practices. It spits out a list of products for them. Yeah. Take that list to your dealer and have a more localized, good discussion on products.
Yeah. If you want to, you go to beckshybrids.com, click the products page. Or I think it's in the top right-hand corner of the main homepage now, too. It's the Seed IQ. Yep. You can click on it. It's interesting. Throw your geography into there, your zip code, and answer some questions. Yep. And it's pretty interesting.
Focused on your management.
Yeah, that's right. It's focused around your management style. And then at some point, I'd like to talk about it even more.
We'll get into it a little more.
We have time.
Yep.
Anything else?
No, I don't.
Okay. Sounds great. Thank you, Scott, for joining us. We'll be back next time.
Thank you.
So, what? I thought it turned out well.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
If you were Scott Dickey now, you would say something like, "It's about time for lunch."
Gosh, what else? Starving.
You're starving?
Yes.
What would he call it, Selena? What does he say? Grub or something? He calls it something else. He doesn't say, "Let's go for lunch." He says, I don't know, ready for something.
Yeah, Scott, I don't.
You don't know what's going to come out.
Yeah, exactly.
But I wish he was here. We could have made a really nice roundtable discussion. And
hey, I got selected.
Field of Realms of the Year.
No.
It's your turn again.
For wave 1 of the whiskey.
It's almost bean time. So I got splinters in my hand. It's almost bean time.
Lunch. Yes. Yes, of course. Scott always brings up. Well, it's 11, 13, it's 12 almost.
No, it's not.
Move over like I was shutting it off.
I got that splinter dissected out.